The Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada is Canada's financial intelligence unit and anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist financing supervisor. Businesses subject to the Proceeds of Crime, Money Laundering, and Terrorist Financing Act must report completed or attempted suspicious transactions to FINTRAC when there are reasonable grounds to suspect that the transaction is related to a money laundering, terrorist financing, or sanctions evasion offense. This can be done by submitting a suspicious transaction report, commonly referred to as an STR. This video looks at some important factors to consider when submitting a suspicious transaction report to FINTRAC. As a regulated business, your compliance policies and procedures must include details on the process for how you identify, assess, and submit suspicious transaction reports to FINTRAC. You are required to submit the suspicious transaction report as soon as practicable. This means a time period that falls in between immediately and as soon as possible. The completion and submission of the STR should take priority over other tasks. As a best practice, in situations involving time-sensitive information, such as suspected terrorist financing and threats to national security, FINTRAC encourages you to expedite the submission of your suspicious transaction report. To avoid tipping off the client, you are not allowed to inform anyone, including the client, about the contents of a suspicious transaction report, or that you have submitted or will be submitting such a report. This applies to your assessments that are ongoing or pending. Take precautions when seeking information that you would not normally request during an interaction or transaction. FINTRAC expects that all of these practices be included in your compliance policies and procedures. When submitting a suspicious transaction report, your report must be complete and accurate. Be sure to use clear and concise language and to avoid jargon, such as terms and acronyms specific to your organization. It is important to include all of the factors that support your assessment and conclusion that a money laundering, terrorist financing, or sanctions evasion offense has possibly occurred. In the Details of Suspicion section of the report, include the factors that raised suspicion, such as unusual transactions, dealings with sanctioned entities, questionable sources of funds, atypical customer behavior and unclear or overly complex business ownership structures, and false or suspicious documents that may be supporting criminal activities. The detailed factors that you provide are key to FINTRAC's analysis and to the production of financial intelligence disclosures. More examples of these factors can be found on the FINTRAC website. It is important to note that you will not be prosecuted for submitting a suspicious transaction report to FINTRAC in good faith. Money laundering, terrorist financing, and sanctions evasion jeopardize our financial system's integrity and damage the Canadian economy. They fuel corruption, eroding public institutions, and impacting government revenues and international credibility. By complying with your legal obligations, you are deterring criminals, protecting the legitimate economy, and targeting the organized networks threatening Canadians. You are also helping FINTRAC gather insights on patterns, vulnerabilities, and emerging threats within Canada's financial system. And you are helping to enhance the reputation of regulated businesses while building trust with customers, shareholders, and regulators. We all have a role to play in the detection, prevention, and deterrence of money laundering, terrorist financing, and sanctions evasion. Stay up to date on current money laundering and terrorist financing indicators and sanctions evasion characteristics, emerging risks and threats, news, and more by visiting our website at fintrac-canf.canada.ca.